Welcome back. This is the goatcastpodcast, and today we look at two top-tier superstars and how well they matched up. Like him or not, LeBron James is at least a top 10 NBA player of all time. That's not easy for me to say, but it's the truth. While he's had a storied NBA career, during that time he's run into some juggernauts, one of which, arguably the greatest power forward ever, Tim Duncan. The almost always stoic big man came into the league, and all he did was win, becoming a San Antonio Spur and remaining one throughout his 19-year career. These two would have some epic clashes throughout their careers. I did a video a few weeks ago pitting Kobe Bryant against the self-proclaimed king, so I'm going to do this one similar to that. So we will discuss their head-to-head matchups, championship runs, and accolades. But before we hop into that, please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps keep us motivated and keeps us growing. Thank you all. Tim Duncan was the overall number 1 pick in the 1997 draft, coming in from Wake Forest. As mentioned earlier, he spent his entire 19-year career as a Spur alongside Hall of Fame coach Greg Popovich, not to mention Hall of Famers David Robinson, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili, just to name a few. Having battled with the greatest throughout 3 decades, whether it be Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, or of course LeBron James, LeBron James is obviously one of the top-tier small forwards in the league. A 4-time NBA champion and now the leading scorer of all time in year 20 and counting. Whichever side of the fence you're on when it comes to LeBron, you can't deny his impact on the game. He's easily the face of the NBA and has been for the past decade or so, even with guys like Steph and even Giannis making names for themselves. LeBron is probably the most talked about, good or bad, athlete the NBA has seen since the GOAT himself, Michael Jordan. So we'll look at some categories and give a check to one we believe conquered that aspect. Here we will break down their regular season games against each other, championship runs, and accolades. Now, Duncan and LeBron have met on numerous occasions, both in the regular season and in postseason, but we are only going to focus on the regular season. So let's dive into these head-to-head matchups. Whether LeBron was a Cleveland Cav or Miami Heat, he and Tim Duncan have met 20 times in the regular season. In those, they were a respectful 10-10 against each other. The Spurs, whenever playing LeBron, seemed to relish the challenge. I remember James's first year in Miami and how Duncan and crew had a statement win, having the Heatles down by 30 in the first quarter and cruising over them, only for the Spurs to go to Miami and get beat in the exact same fashion. This would spark a quiet rivalry throughout the early to mid 2010s that culminated into 2 intense final series. We'll get into that later. In those games, LeBron James averaged 26.4 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 6.6 assists. Meanwhile, Timmy D put up 18.3 points per game, 9.4 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and nearly 2 blocks a game against LeBron-led teams. So looking at this, I don't really think I can give a check to either, as even stat-wise, it's not a big enough gap to say that one was superior over the other in that aspect, so they wash each other out. Now the fun part, their NBA Finals runs. LeBron James is 4-6 in the NBA Finals and a combined 22-33 there. With a 40% win percentage there, the self-proclaimed king hasn't had the greatest run in championship for bust years, defeating the Oklahoma City Thunder, Tim Duncan San Antonio Spurs, Golden State Warriors, and Miami Heat to take the chip, losing to the Dallas Mavericks, Spurs twice, and Golden State 3 times. I'll drop his career finals numbers, but we will focus in on his series against the Spurs. In the finals, LeBron averaged 28.4 points per game, 10.2 rebounds, and 7.8 assists. Now, in those 3 NBA finals against Tim Duncan and the Spurs, he averaged 25.4 points per game, 8.9 rebounds, and 6 assists. While on that note, LeBron James is 5-11 against the Spurs in the finals. Tim Duncan is a 5-time champion spanning 3 decades. In the finals, Duncan is 5-1 with a combined 23-11 there. That's pretty much a 68% win percentage. Those Spurs teams with Tim Duncan at the head defeated the New York Knicks, New Jersey Nets, Detroit Pistons, Cleveland Cavaliers, and LeBron's Miami Heat. His lone loss in the finals was against those Heat, and basically due to Ginobili and Kawhi not able to hit free throws down the stretch, and of course, this. During those NBA Finals, Tim Duncan averaged 20.8 points per game, 13.3 rebounds, and 2.8 assists. In the 3 finals against LeBron, he averaged 17.6 points per game, 11.3 rebounds, and 2.2 assists. Also going 11-5 against the self-proclaimed king. Who gets the advantage in NBA Finals performances? Part of me says give it to LeBron just based off stats. However, winning is a key as well. 4-6 versus 5-1 is just hard to justify giving the nod to the below 500 players record. Stats aren't everything, and the fact that both were key contributors to all of those finals appearances matter. So I'm going to give the check to the big fundamental on this one. Finally, their accolades. LeBron James is a 4-time NBA champion, 4-time Finals MVP, 4-time NBA MVP, 19-time NBA All-Star, the NBA's all-time leading scorer, 13-time All-NBA First Team, and 5-time All-NBA Defensive First Team. Duncan is a 5-time NBA champion, 3-time Finals MVP, 2-time NBA MVP, 15-time NBA All-Star, 10-time All-NBA First Team, and 8-time All-NBA Defensive First Team. The accolades, well, it's just really close to me. Being off by one or two shouldn't raise the stock too much of another. And All-NBA teams with all defense, they're basically tied there. If I want to be generous and give it to LeBron solely on being the scoring leader, I could, but I'm not. This too feels like a wash to me, and therefore neither gets a check. So with that being said, there was only one check given, and that went to the big fundamental, Tim Duncan. Really, I could have given LeBron a check for the accolades, but they just weren't as ahead as I thought. So do I think Tim Duncan is a tier above? Maybe slightly, but these two are without a doubt two of the greatest to have ever done it. I never really feel that Tim Duncan gets his due in the media or with fans, but he was truly a one-of-a-kind big man who used basketball fundamentals and a really high IQ for the game to carve out a top 5 or top 10 career. LeBron, well, whether you like him or not, he sits atop with the greats as well. Now how close he sits with them, that's another story. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think either of these players was ahead of the other, or do you completely disagree with my take? Let me know in the comments section. Also, if you want to ascend to GOAT status like number 23, please like and subscribe to the channel. It only helps us continue to grow. Thank you all for listening. I'll be back soon with more content.